And it is a story, but I'm playing all of the characters. So it's kind of like a play. And it's called An Allegory About Our Money System. And and I created this story because whenever I try to explain the money system that we have, especially the difference between fiat currency and real money, it's difficult to explain. So I decided to explain it in the form of a story, and I decided to incorporate other elements into it too that I wanted to express. And I was speaking of just one more thing. All right. So the story begins now. Scene. There was once a kingdom that had peace, prosperity, freedom, justice, equity. It had all of these things because it had three unique qualities. The first unique quality about this kingdom was that instead of one currency or a monocurrency system, it had three currencies. It had gold, silver, and art. So yes, even art can be used as a medium of exchange, as a form of money, and which meant that there was a lot more abundance in this kingdom. The second thing that was unique about this kingdom was how much anger was valued. It wasn't just tolerated, but it was celebrated as a core value, a religious principle, a spiritual principle, and even a form of pleasure as well. It meant, being able to be angry meant that you cared, that you had a heart, and that you had a spine, a backbone. It meant that you were fully alive. It was a direct connection to the aliveness that we are. Other than sexuality, it was the people's number one source of power. The third thing that was unique about this kingdom was instead of a monocrop system like we have today, they had an ecosystem of 500 edible plants and edible forests of these plants coexisting with each other, and people shared their food with each other. And then there was a power-hungry wizard who, in cahoots with the treasurer, decided that he wanted to be the new king. He wanted power. And this king was a true king, unlike the rulers of today. And so the wizard knew that in order to do what he wanted to do, he decided to cut off people's connection to anger first. And he did it by killing the old ones who were the wisdom holders about anger. He slowly killed them one by one and replaced them with imposters, sock puppets, and Trojan horses, cutting off the cultural roots of this kingdom, committing cultural genocide. And then finally, he was ready to approach the king. And he said to the king,
Come on, King. Come on.
Okay.
and the king's right there, and this is the wizard now.
Oh, come on, wizard.
And the wizard says to the king, "O king, you're a great king, you have so much power, but you can make your kingdom so much more efficient if you actually replaced all of the currencies in the kingdom with just gold. Since gold is the primary currency of this kingdom." And the king thought about it for a while, for a few days. And he had this dilemma. He had doubts. And then he kind of made a decision, and he came back to the wizard a few days later. And now the wizard had another idea. He also said, "O king, you can replace gold, even the gold, with just pieces of paper called IOUs. You don't even need the gold, actually." And at this point, the fool started cracking up. And then the wizard sent him a shut-up spell. And so the fool couldn't speak. And the king finally agreed to this idea. And then it was like a few years, and then a few years later, the wizard had yet another idea, and that was he said you can also replace the 500 crops with just this monocrop system. And at this point, the fool started jumping up and down and dancing, but no one understood him. And it took 500 years, and it's a longer story, but to make it short, I'm going to take you to the final battle when the hero of the story, who's the storyteller with a warrior spirit, his final battle with the wizard to restore right livelihood into this kingdom. And this dance that you're about to see is both a magical healing for you, but it's also a story written in code, this dance itself. You can see I'm holding both fans. Holding both fans because that represents the integration of all of the energies we've talked about, both the fool and the wizard, and the king and the warrior, and the storyteller.
right. Thank you for the story. Yo, that was our first official storyteller for Cyber Connection. Everyone give it up for Kunde! Real quick, Kunde, where can we follow you real quick?
On Instagram is my name, Kundan Chabra. It's KUNDANCHHABRA. I think you can also do a search for Meaningful Life, and you probably could find me that way too. That's easier. And that's my Instagram. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful storytelling. One more time, give it up for Kunde!